Human Suffering, Part 2. Arrogance and Ego. These are two very wonderful emotions which I come across incessantly. These emotions I call roadblocks which render us helpless on our quest for happiness. The biggest causes for our suffering. I see people suffering. But these two emotions don't even let them acknowledge that there is a problem. You cannot work on a problem unless you know there is one in the first place. These two cause our minds to think that all is well and the subject is living in the world of ignorance. The state where they live in oblivion to the fact that there is a world beyond their own too. The biggest example I see is when people say I know everything. What is there that I do not know? Arrogance make them say I do not need help. Complicated minds. This is the second aspect of this misery. The minds are so complicated that each thought and each action becomes a complicated burden. Little things in life which can be simply lived, people tend to complicate them with their complex thought process. Why not UN burden? Why not UN complicate? There is no need to go through hell alone. Seek a friend, seek help. There is no harm in doing so. Shed that arrogance, shed that ego. It helps no one. Simplify life and live a value-creating life. A life which cares and gives. Ignorance. Ignorance that I will live forever. And with this ignorance, it gives me the right to act at will. Ignorant of the karmic residue my actions bring. The effects of our actions will manifest sooner or later. Whether you admit or not. I am not a Buddhist scholar or an authority on this great life philosophy called Buddhism. I am just another confused soul trying to join the dots who practices Buddhist teachings. The views expressed across this blog are my own personal interpretation of the great teachings of Buddha. Coming out of the Buddha in me, I try to simplify the teachings and keep them short, crisp and to the point. I sincerely hope these articles bring some sense of sanity in our troubled minds. Though we are so consumed in our own world, our own ego and sufferings that we have lost the Buddha mind to distinguish between the correct or incorrect teachings. But at the same time, if you are able to distinguish between good and bad, then you have a long way to go to find your own Buddha in you. As according to Buddhism there is nothing good nor bad. It is just how you interpret. We are all governed by our own karmic patterns which will make us interpret every thought according to our own karmic mind process. That is why I mention the correct teaching is essential to overcome our karmic mind to convert it to Buddha mind. Since our minds are so accustomed to polluted thoughts, it doesn't register the right teachings right away. Our minds are ingrained to reject the right teachings at the first instance as the right teachings don't fall in our comfort zone and are contrary to what this mind is accustomed to. Mind will certainly say that this article is a crap, or maybe sometimes it will say that it's a nice article, but in any case, it will register nothing as a teaching which we can imbibe in our lives and live accordingly. If you really want to make a difference in your own life, please read and reread it over and over. Uncomplicate. Simplify life. Let's create a humanistic society based on compassion and reverence for all humanity.